Hey everyone, Bob Bush, North Prairie Livestock Company, and today I just wanted to show you what we do on temporary corners when we're rotating our cattle through our pastures. And what we found that works best for us is to use these pigtail step-in posts. We use these for corners to hang our temporary spools and also our polybraid wire on when we're making different paddocks through our pasture. We've just opened up a paddock for the cattle here, and we're going to be moving our cattle towards this direction, but we have a temporary wire set up so the cattle cannot get over on this side because we don't want them just going right over here and taking all the pasture. We're rotating them in strips. But when you rotate them in strips, you got to set up your temporary fences so they don't get over into your new pasture that you don't want them in until you're ready to move them over there. Like I said, we use these pigtail step-in posts. We have tried in the past just using like a regular T-post or even like a plastic post, but you got to bring out a post pounder and you got to pound it in. And sometimes, depending on the weather and the ground conditions, sometimes the ground can be hard to pound them in, and they can also be really hard to pull out as well. So they're more of a hassle, and this is a really quick setup, and it makes a nice sturdy corner. And what we do is I just make a TriStand. I just take a pigtail post and I just slide this in right through the steel base on the step-in post here. Slide this one through, then I'll slide the other one through, and you just use the loop on the pigtail step-in post as you just go in there like that. And then what we do, you just take it, you step this one in, and you want to, and these are just your two supports or your braces, and you want to have them going in the direction of where the pole is going to be on the wire. And so, like on this post here, so how I have it set up now, with this brace here, you'd hook your polybraid wire on here, and your pole would be going this direction, and you can see that post isn't going to go anywhere. And then if you have another wire coming this direction, the pole is going to be going this way, so you have support here. So basically, you can put a lot of strain on this, and it's not going to fall over. We haven't had any issues, and we haven't really had many issues. The only time we've had a problem with it, is when maybe a deer hooked onto the fence and pulled it real hard. But that doesn't really ever happen, and when it has happened, it kind of took our wire out a little bit, but the cattle are pretty trained to the temporary fence setup, so that they didn't run out in the field. They still minded the polybraid temporary electric fence that we had set up. So anyways, this is just a quick, easy setup. I'll just show you here the one that we have up now for the cattle, but a lot of times, and you can see I've got so I have the wires going all the way up the hill. There's a watering tank up there, and the spool hangs up there. And so I got this TriStand here set up. So I just take the polybraid wire here, and I just tie a slip knot on there. And so that's holding that nice and tight. And then I'll take the spool, and I'll just hook on the loop right here. The spool's got a hook on it. I'll just hook it on here on the pigtail step-in post. And when I set it up, I'll set the spool so it's touching the insulation here on these tops of these pigtail step-in posts. You don't want the metal part of the spool touching the steel on the step-in post, otherwise you will short your fence out. And you also want to be mindful of the polybraid wire itself. When you set the spool up, you do not want to have it touching the steel on the step-in post. So if you can keep everything up above and on the insulated part of the step-in post, your fence won't short out. And in this case, we have the power's coming. We have a fence set up down there, so this spool's got power on it, and this wire here has power in it as well. And if you only had power coming on this wire and you needed power here, They make a lot of these, you just get some alligator clips, you can clip here and here, and you got power set up. And so that's our TriStands that we use. We also use them on long runs as well. So these spools hold about a 1/4 mile of wire. And if we have to set up a paddock where we have about a 1/2 mile of wire, we'll have a TriStand, or we might even make them so we have another brace too, or we might add a couple more pigtail posts on here to add some extra support. But in that case, we might have 2 spools hooking on here, and then might have a wire going another 1/4 mile that way. And so that's our setup. You can also use plastic step-in posts if you want to. These are just an O'Brien step-in post. You can also use these. These don't work as well. They don't provide as much support. But if that's all you got in a pinch, they'll work too. A lot of times we can just set them up like this, and then we'll take it and we'll hook right here. I'll kind of slide this in the ground. And so that'll provide some support as well. Now you can't pull on this real hard, but it will work. You do have to watch out if you pull real hard. Sometimes its base on this step-in post might slide out. But anyways, that's another solution. But like I said, we like these pigtail step-in post setups. They're a lot faster, and you don't have to carry around a post pounder and a T-post, and you don't have to try to get the T-post pulled out if you're moving your cattle every day. So anyways, everybody, just an easy solution for helping on your rotational grazing. Have a good day, everybody.